What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be going over all the cards you should be getting your hands on before the BT16 drop. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. We're starting it off with, let's say, the Valkyriemon Ace. Valkyriemon Ace is kind of one of those cards that kind of gets splashed in. It has its own deck that is a Sylphimon focus. You can play it in two other decks as well, and that will be related to Lord Nightmon, because Lord Nightmon can combo in shenanigans wise and make Valkyrie Ace come in for its on play cost and really make your opponent have a bad day, because this minusing 5000 DP blanket effect plus ruin mode on top of it. It's like ruin mode turbo that you play. Valkyriemon Ace kind of goes there. Also, what you do with it is you combo it in with something like the Numemon deck. Because of how the deck's designed, it does have a yellow boss Digimon focus. With its Mumsemon X antibody and its regular Mumsemon, you will now be able to have access to something that is a blanket effect. This lasts till the end of your opponent's turn, which means Valkyrie Ace has more advantage in this way. If you are planning on playing Numemon, the Numemon cards you want to do this, you want to play Valkyrie Ace. It just combos extremely well with the deck. Then you do have the version with Lord Nightmon, which you want to take Nightmon itself, Gladimon, the Kotemon, plus, Bushi Agu, just to go comboing off and just being in a nuisance. These things do add up. And then there is two versions of Valkyriemon you can kind of play as. You can focus it on more of a yellow-based strategy where it focuses on the Gato package using like Gatomon from BT15 and the Gatomon with Barrio promo to do all the shenanigans and focus on more of a yellow-based theme, or you use like old Sylphimon as well. There's also a theme that is focused in the red base, which you'll tech in like Biomon, because the ability by trashing one card with avian, bird, beast, and other sea animal in one of your traits in your hand, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 red card to your hand, return the rest of the bottom of the deck. It combos in with nicely with Sora. Yoli is very useful because being able to play a Hawkmon, which will be your promo Hawkmon, just being able to search and add 1 red, yellow, 2 or more colors, and 1 tamer with Yoli in its name among them to your hand, return the rest of the bottom. And then it has the DNA Digivol effect. There's a lot of potential here, and as you know, if you're going the yellow route, you need Magnamon Ace, and all the goodies there can really matter. That's why you splash in like Rapidmon and TKs. If you are going the Nume route, you just basically pick up the Nume core, and then, the Satskis and all the good stuff there. Or if you're going red base, you just grab the Hawkmon from like BT8, you grab Sheer. This card is at least decent. One of your opponent's Digimon with block can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn. Really solid game strat here. The kind of 2 eggs you want to use is either Koromon or Tokomon. That's kind of self-explanatory. All in all, really good stuff coming in. Hawkmon should have a reprint for promo, because it is actually a more requirement than you think when you're deck building, because Hawkmon is actually quite needed. Then we do have Phoenixmon X Antibody. This has a couple X antibodies in BT16 that helps out with the overall effects. You're going to want to pick up the Bird Core as well. Yokomons, both Yoko eggs are really good going into it just because of their effects. Biomon across the board is that you want to grab BT11 because it's a searcher. You have Biomon that is a on deletion, returning 1 in Christie to warp. This one does a Biomon search. We talked about this in the previous one. Then you have like Bergermon here from BT11, Bergermon from BT15, Garudamon from 11 just for the blocker. Then you also have the Garudamon that combos in with the Biomon that wants to warp. You can play 1 tamer to replay cost without paying its cost, which is you'll be just replay Chrissy. Then you also have Garudamon Ace as an option, just because it can play a tamer, and then delete 1 of your opponents if you want a blocker. Phoenixmon is just going to be generically, it's either BT11 you're going to be playing or BT15, your choice. At that point, you combo kind of a mixture with Phoenixmon X Antibody. The deck is quite good that way. Wings of Love is definitely an option that you really want to have in the list. Then you have Akihiko. Akihiko is just really powerful because you want to have a tamer. All three of these tamers, Sora, Chrissy, and Akihiko, they just flow really well. They combo really nicely with each other and just do their shenanigans. Make sure you have those. Then we are getting into Vmon territory. First off, we're going to talk about Imperial Dramon Fighter Mode. It has an ace, it has another evolution into this, and it has full lines here. There's multiple routes you can go. There are definitely, you can go Wormmon as a route just because it is a searcher. It has the DNA effect. It's just really important to have that end of turn DNA. And then boom, you go into it. A lot of players are using Wormmon, which they use Ken a little bit too sometimes. Most of the time it is Davis's, and Davis and Ken. You know, BT3 Davis followed by Davis Promo are very utilized in every list so far. And then you do have some people that like to do Davis and Ken shenanigans because, A, you do have access. Though there is a new Davis and Ken that'll play your stuff, really does help out. You know, for threat removals here, you have like Mega Death, Giga Death, and then followed by Hammer Spark. They're really utilized tools. And with Pyildramon, you want to use probably like 2 of this one from BT12, and then 4 of this one, and then 4 of the new one. Consistency is key here. Lydramon is just a good bridge gap because you can either go with Stingmon from BT12 and XVmon from BT12 because one gives jamming, one gives piercing, and then when DNA digivolve into a blue Digimon, gain a memory. Same thing with XVmon, they just combo and complementary wise. You can also do EX1 XVmon with jamming and jamming inheritable, or Stingmon with the ability for it to come in for reduced cost 3 and then basically Jogress and go into there. But you want to grab your Vmons. Your Vmons are going to be vital, like BT12 Searcher Vmon. Then, when attacking draw is vital. Then the Vmon from Starter Deck 9, revealing top 3 cards of your deck. This really does help out, add 1 free among them. Place the rating at the bottom. As I said earlier in the video, BT Promo 117 is vital in the deck. Wormmon's also another target that you want because it's able to search out for Imperial Dramon or free. And if you are playing Ken, because it is looking for Kens, it can, in its name, it can grab the dual tamers as well. All in all, and some lists are playing Hammer Sparks and Hidden Potential Discovered just to round out their potentials. Then we do have Armor Boy. There's 2 ways of playing it. You can go Yellow Vaccine route, which is you play the Patamons, both Patamon from BT14 and Patamon Promo 112. And then you kind of use more of the armor route, which is using like Rapids, and they use Rapidmon X Antibody with Magnamon X Antibody as dual targets. The new ones, that is a splashable idea. There's also the Tried and True Blue route, which is basically the Vmons that we just talked about earlier. The Searcher Vmons, the Draw Inheritable Vmons, and then the Reduced Digivolution on Promo 117. Then you have Magnas and Golden Vidramon as options because the Magnas are what you really want to have because you want to get into Magnamon X Antibody. That does help out. Then you have also, some people are saying you play BT9s as a one-of in the list, which isn't a bad idea. It's a good solid tech. Things like the aces that people want to play are Angelwomon, Magnamon Ace, and Sudamon Ace. Have all seen consistency use in the list. The things that you also want to take into account for options wise, some lists are playing Final Zubaground Punch because you do have, Magnamon X Antibody gaining the DP boost. This thing will gain blocker, reboost, security attack 1, and being able to punch in more really does help out, especially with comboed in with Fire Rocket. Those lists are playing those. X Antibody Protoform to help reduce the Digivolution cost here. Some lists are actually even playing Emissary of Hope. This is just because you can skip Evolution Climb depending on the list you're playing. It just gets really ridiculous, and then you want to be playing your TKs in this list if you're playing Emissary. Blinding Ray is also being seen as a 2-of in the list just because of the fact of the Blinding Ray will trigger Magnamon X Antibody's effect, and it's just a big boss protection shenanigans. Then Awakening the Golden Knight. This card is you may digivolve one of your armors forms and into traits into a Digimon with Magnamon in its name in your hand, ignoring Digievolution requirements and without paying its memory cost. The Digimon that digivolves with this effect cannot have its DP reduced by your opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's turn. It doesn't get around like Mumsay and stuff like that. It is another thing you have to worry about. Then some lists are playing Heaven's Judgment because 3 colors, it's instantly just notoriously broken with this. Then you have Shu being it to X antibody. You'll tuck in with Alliance, giving it Alliance, and swing in. Since he's going to be a beefy target anyway, comboing with Final Super Ground Punch and Fire Rocket makes your opponent have a bad day. And then you do see like Davis here as well. There's plenty of routes you can go about it. Just keep that in mind. Then we did get support in Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon got Agumon and it got a Galgamon. Both are really vital for the deck strategy because it now gives it another rookie and a champion, which this deck needed for consistency. If you want to play this deck, things you want to take into account is like Sunmon and Moonmon, Lunamon, Coronamon, Lycusmon, Flairmon, Crestmon, Flairamon, you know, Apollo with Diana and Grace Nova are vitally important. And then you need the Sio and Ko and Sio, as you want to have these both tamers going. Then some lists have played Mirage Galga, just being Mirage Galga because you build up these really big stacks that have inheritable power-ups. You know, Mirage can just be ridiculous pretty quickly. Keep that in mind. There's plenty of things you want to do, like Goodnight Moon and Phoebus Blow is really useful. Then you do have Yellow, we're going into it. Goldramon X Antibody was introduced in the set. That means people are starting to tech it with, you know, what are we going to be teching it with? We're going to be teching it with none other than the 7 Trials of the 4 Great Dragons. Lists that are playing them are like Azulamon Ace. You know, you need Goldramon because you are going to Goldramon X. Angelwolmon, Aerovedramon, Gato, Agumon, Patas, and Nerumon. All vital cards for the list. Some lists are playing Renamon just because of the end of on play until the end of opponent's turn. 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP cannot attack. Just preventative measures are really solid. You know, I did see Sakuyamon Maid Mode be used, which is kind of expected because you do have play costs 5 options. Like even God Flare, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6000 DP for the turn. Then you may return 1 4 Great Dragons traits from your trash to your hand. Just comboing off Sakuyamon Maid Mode, it just does things. You know, we've seen Takuya, Tai, and Kari as options for tamers, and then Tai and Kari for TK and Kari for another option as well. Then we do get into the, you know, Gatomon armor. If you guys haven't heard of what this list does, it's a very simple stock list that likes to do some crazy shenanigans. It focuses on Gatomon armor form, which are only 2 right now, and that is Lynxmon, which is raid and armor purged when digivolving one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. Also plays Nefertimon. When attacking one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn, which, you know, leads into armor texture. This thing is allowing you to switch in and out of your Digievolutions and then unsuspend this Digimon. You're going to take your Gatomon, go into Neferti, swing in, hopefully lower some stuff, and then use armor form to go into Lynxmon. And just keep doing that for comboing in, and you deal a lot of damage pretty quickly. You know, there are lists that are playing Awaken of the Golden Digizord because they are playing the Magnamon X Antibody option, because Neferti and Lynxmon are both valuable targets that you can skip climb with because they are yellow targets. That's something to keep in mind. Cards they use are like Lewis and Uku's, just to combo off and keep going and going. Then you have like Patasalas, you know, Patamon, if it's yellow and it's vaccine related, you are going to see Pata in every list. Salamons are just generically good. You know, Salamon here that lets you DNA. If you're playing like Chimera, you can definitely do that. Salamon is basically when you have 3 or more security, draw a card, lets you fuel. Salamon here is one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP. This Salamon has a starter main phase. If you have 3 or more security, add the top card of your security stack to your hand. If you have 2 or fewer, you may place 1 yellow Digimon card with vaccine in its traits from your hand at the top of your or bottom of your security stack. Then when a card is removed from your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the inheritable. You know, we've seen Nerumon as an option because when you buy trash in the top or bottom of your security stack, gain 1 memory, or Tokumon for the draw. And then Revelation of Light's just nasty, especially with Kari on board. So there's a lot of potential. Ruin Mode's kind of seen, and Angelwolmon Ace as well. Then we got Tyrant Kabuterimon. Anything that was Tentomon to the Hercules Kabuterimon in BT 15 you want to pick up.
Just really vitally bug support that is really good. Even the Montemon is one that you want to have as well, just because that allows your attacks come in. You know, Super Shockers is another option that gets really used. Izzy is just mainstead that you want to have in this list. Some lists do play Kuwagamon X Antibody because it combos really nicely with the Kuwagamon promo. You can play 0 to 4 of this with no questions. It's whatever you feel preferable on it. Stigmon and Kabuterimon are all insects. You want to definitely have these because they're 1-cost evolves that give some unique inheritable strats. Then you have like Lotmon to give alliance because sometimes that's what you want to have because then you can clear out more security. Some lists have played Shivamon just because shutting down options does matter in some circumstances. We've seen Rhino Kabuterimon as an option as well, that you can evolve into your insects. You know, that really does help out because it helps skip climb. Like, that is very important there. And then you have Kokuamon and Kuamon X Antibody as just searchers as well. All in all, these are usually what cards you want to expect. Terriermon's just in here for making Izzy cheaper. Then we do have the Golden Rappa X Antibody. You can play, if you guys haven't gotten your hands on it, the advanced deck will basically give you everything you kind of need for the future Rapidmon X antibody support, minus like Mimi. You might need to pick up some Mimis there. You have like Calamon here as an option as well, just because of the ability to, you know, suspend this Digimon, gain a memory, draw a card, and the fact that when you would play this, reduce the play cost by 2 for if you have Guilmon, Terriermon, Renamon, or Itmon in play. It can't attack. It's just there for value. Double Typhoon, you know, you're going to be playing your doggos the way you want to. Some lists have gone in the route of the Jega and Tortomon route to just do a get into Mega Gargo or Rapidmon X as an option. Keeping that in mind, and also you want to get Rapidmon. Like I said, you can get this out of the advanced deck very easily with no questions asked. Keep that in mind when you're just deck building. Next, we're getting into black. If you want to play D-Brigade, this format, they got new support. They got some really solid support in the form of their BT16, and then has one of the longest cards as a delay option, because why not? If it's named Commandramon, you pick it up. Plain and simple. BT14 you want to have. You want to have Commandramon from BT3. You want to definitely have BT4. Then the one that gives EX03, the jamming. Then you also have Commandramon with 5. There is the blocker Commandramon. You really don't want to use that one. Another option is using Ryuda line to go into their higher ups, which is Oriumon, which can lead to being Chaosmon X as the Chaosmon as well. Some lists do play Mega Gargo Ace because of how powerful it is. Some lists are just playing Brigade Darktramon. That is an option as well. You know, like I said, the Ryudo line is in this as well. You have like Satsuki and DCD Bomb, you know, Cargo Dramon with High Commandro with Brigade Dramon. Then we do get into black here. We have like Armadillomon. This is for this list here, Shukukomon. This card uses This thing is probably one of the weaker of the 3 that got introduced. This Digimon isn't affected by effects of your opponent's Digimon until the end of their turn. Then if you DNA, place one of your opponent's Digimon whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards in your opponent's security stack at the bottom of your opponent's security stack. Not a bad trade-off. It's very powerful. You know, you do also want to play the old school one because you guys have access to different color ranges. Like, what's interesting about this set is that most of the lines are produced in the set. It's kind of self-contained, minus like a few things like the Armadillos you want to pick up, you know, Patamons you want to possibly pick up depending on how you want to design the list, TK, Cody, also value, you know. You have Ruin Mode, the Seraphes, because Seraphemon is pretty decent in the list. The combo it in with your Vikemon, Ace, and it's going to town. Then you have like Dark Maeldramon as an option just because it is black and blue. It kind of fills in the slot for your once you're trying to do the yellow combinations. There are possibilities here, and then Final Zubagon Punch because you need the aggression in this. Then you do have the introduction of Dorugamon, the C version. This thing combos really nicely with the old support, but it also likes the new support as well. You can play the Marvin Jackson stuff, which was the Aerodramon, then the Megadramon plus the Marvin Jackson itself as a complete set, and it combos really nicely with each other. There's nothing wrong with how the list goes. If you want to play Shu, you could play Shu to tech in the Ryuda to give a really solid protection. Most of the time it is the Doromons you're going to be using, and Daruga is very vital until they give you the BT17 version. There is lists that go Dex Darugamon as an option, or they just focus on double Darugamon. There's no wrong way of playing the deck. It's just whatever you comfortably want to play. And it's an X Antibody deck. We use X Antibody and Protoform as options as well. Cool Boy's vital in this because you do have Dex Daruga and Dex Doro Gray. There's some good stuff there. Dorumon is just really solid, and you want to have Doraemon. There's two options with that one, and you just go to town with that. Enjoy what you got going. Then we do have the X Antibody line with Shakomon and the Gasomon. This thing here is both their X Antibody, combos in nicely and gives the inheritables. There's just plenty of stuff you can do. If you're going to be playing Levia, there's multiple routes you could go. You can do Anubis Merva kind of Levia, or just Levia in general, just doing its normal shenanigans where you just use a lot of draw, get it into trash as soon as possible to make sure your 7th Lightning and Biting Crush are active as soon as possible. There's just plenty of ways of going about it. There's no wrong answers of how you want to build Levia. Some lists are teching Myotismon Ace with Oro C and Dragomon. Some lists are even just playing Cerberus X Antibody with, Dobermon X Antibody. You do want to have an X Antibody in the list. Protoform is really nice if you can get it underneath a Garurumon X as an option. Since the deck will now have innate X Antibodies going into it, you could definitely use more Protoform or just use the regular X Antibody. Then you do have Cherubimon. Cherubimon definitely needs some more support. I think the next wave actually helps it just a little bit more. One of the creators pushes for Alliance a lot. That's why we're seeing more of it. All in all, it's the same thing. Pick up the advanced deck. You get a decent amount of the Alliance stuff, and then anything else you're going to have to just clean up in EX04. And the deck is just straight up make big numbers, swing in, and just go to town. I mean, Cherubimon X is nothing to scoff at. When Digivolving, when attacking, you may play one level 4 or lower, yellow or green Digimon card from your hand or trash without paying its cost. End of turn, once per turn, if Cherubimon or X Antibodies in this Digivolution, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lowers. For each of your other Digimon, add one maximum level can be chosen. This is across the board really solid. Sometimes you'll see Mother D Reaper in the list just so that they can get big numbers and make it walk across very easily. All in all, great stuff. Anything that was related to Cherubi, you kind of just play. Willis and Mimi are really solid. Double Typhoon because you do have Lops and Terriers. Then Heaven's Judgment is really useful because you are 2 to 3 colors at any time. Then we do have Pulsemon here. Because Pulsemon got Shroudmon and a full evolutionary line across the board, there's multiple ways of playing it. They all kind of gain the ability to search for evolution with the newer support, so that they're always looking for Pulsemon and name. Palmon's going to be definitely really useful. Pal is supposed to be really useful for this list early. I don't know if it's going to make continuation. You can use Impulse Memory Boost as an option as well. You have Ritsu, you have Lonke Alistados, Samasasantes. You want to go green route, you can go Shiva, or you could go Kazuchimon with Shroudmon, or you could go Shroud with, Shiva. There's no wrong way of going about it. Anything that's Bulkmon or Pulsemon related, you want to pick up from, promos to straight up just BT6 and BT8. That's just really useful there. Then you do have the introduction of Solugamon plus the Dino B. That does definitely help and add in some consistency. Let's get Analog Youth. At the end of the day, you do have some value here with Analog Youth and IG Natsumi here. Nagasumi and Analog Youth are really useful. You got Lugas, Fangmon, Lugamon, Black Gato, UV, Black Gato, just normal rush shenanigans, because then you have Tyrannomon from the last set. It's just a really powerful card because you get to free play it. Helluga, Solugas, plenty of value here, especially with the Suluga. Get yourself the deck ready. The low end core really at the end of the day is what you're going to be hunting. because the level 6s kind of just change out. Fenriluga is a combo deck at this point. Then we did get I talked about it earlier, Dino B here. Dino B-Mon is here to combo in really nicely with the Imperial Dramon stuff. We'll have to see if the next wave of support really makes the deck really competitively viable. I'm really hope we'll have to see. You know, pick up anything that was EX3 related. The Vmon, Shademon, Flamemon, you know, Dino B, Imperial Dramon, all really useful. You know, Analog Youth, Miss Memory Boost. You want the Imperial Dramon Dragon and Fighter. Demimeras are both really powerful filtering cards. And then you do need the promo Shademon at a full playset. I feel there is no reason not to be playing at a full. And then we do have Uku, Big Uku boy. Big Uku just says on deletion, return all tamers to their owner's hand. Then you may play one tamer from your hand and one Ukumon from your trash without paying its cost. End of your turn by returning one egg card from your trash to the bottom of the Digi-Egg deck. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Then you may play one level 4 or lower from your hand to the breeding area without paying its cost. It just combos in. You know, there's two ways of playing it. You could just go a blue route, which was using like Lunamon, because the Lunamon's ability to bounce can get you some pieces generation back and extend your plays, especially once you go into Big Uku. It just has some value there. I've seen Zudamon Ace and Weregrumon Ace in the list. You have like Jellymon as well, and you have like Examon as a viable target. There's just so much potential on how you want to play the deck. You know, you have Louis as well in the deck. Then there are some lists that just went with the Uku and Big Uku into, you know, Balphamon sleep mode as another option to be aggressive, while this deck just tries to build up and get tempo going. There's a lot of potential with all these lists. Guys, what did you think? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.